Disclaimer: the following episode contains spoilers for Sonic the Hedgehog 2020. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned. Welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. And this week, everybody's supersonic racing. Try to keep your feet right off the ground. When you're supersonic racing, there's no time to look around. We're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog! Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast for a place to hang your cape. My name is Scott James Merridew, and this is the show where we talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and I'm joined each week by a very special different guest. I mean, who else was I going to have on this show for this topic? Give it up, Capers, for Mark Russell.
We're back by popular demand.
Oh, we're just back, in any case. Yeah, so, God, we've talked about this movie before. I mean, how could we not with the massive controversy?
Oh, the controversy where everyone lost their collective minds again. With good reason.
Yeah, for once, people lost their minds for a good reason. And, oddly enough, something happened out of it. There was a terrible, terrible, terrible design of Sonic the Hedgehog. People said, that's shit. You should know better, movie-making people. And the movie-making people were just like, oh, did we fuck up? I think we fucked up. I know. Let's do it properly this time. And we're $5 million later, and we got something that I think we could safely say is passable.
Passable, in your opinion, as usual. You're wrong. It was wonderful. In a, fun, kind of dumb, turn off your brain kind of way.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that, because here's the thing. If there's one phrase associated with going that I utterly loathe, it's a turn off your brain movie. No! Fuck you! I will not turn off my brain. I need my brain to live. It's what I use for my thinking. It doesn't do it well, but it's all I've got, and I will not turn it off.
Well, fine then. As a children's movie, it's kind of that generic road trip variety, but from an adult point of view, and so totally not from a crazy-ass Sonic fan perspective, I thought it had some heart to it.
Oh, well, that's the thing, see. I kind of agree with you.
He agrees with me. It's a miracle.
Well, it had to happen sooner or later, but here's the thing. This movie, when I say passable, I mean it's just good enough. If I were in a less charitable mood, I might say it was okay or mediocre, and that has some elements to that. But to be perfectly honest, I think if I want to sum up my feelings for the movie barely 5 minutes into the podcast, I'm going to do it right now. Here it is. This movie is better than I feared, but not as good as I hoped. There is some good stuff here. We're going to talk about it. There is some pointless stuff here. We're going to talk about it. There is some stupid stuff here. We're going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So before we go any further, we have to briefly, very, very briefly, go over the controversy with this movie. They released a trailer. It's got been spending most our lives living in an echidna's paradise in it. And pointlessly, weirdly, off-puttingly, which led some people to suspect that they put that very recognizable song in there to stop YouTube people from reviewing/reacting to the trailer by getting a copyright strike on their accounts. Perhaps that's a bit paranoid. Perhaps it's dead on the money. Who knows? And then there's the actual design of Sonic. Way too realistic looking, I guess. I wouldn't use that word per se, but he's too human looking, two human eyes, two human teeth, tiny, creepy gremlin hands, and he's not wearing gloves. He's just got, white hands. It's, it was all... We talked about it. It's all weird. It's all awful. It didn't look good. That was bad enough. But then, the movie people come back and say, okay, you know what? We hear you. We get it. We're gonna change it. And I think that's partially due to the fact there's a lot of people, as we've discussed previously on the show, who came up with their own redesigns of the character that looked, not brilliant for a feature-length film, but better than anything that people who were actually paid to come up with a design for a feature-length movie came up with.
Indeed. Should I give you the brief outline of why they changed it? Because let me put it this way: when the original three creators of Sonic put tweets out saying they hated it, that's a bad sign.
Yeah. I mean, the fans
My
is
God.
one thing, but when the original creators say, "Oh yeah, we do not like this," I mean, it was red flags everywhere, and Paramount, whoever, realized they were in trouble and they were going to lose out on a lot of money, especially since, as the original trailer was one of the most. Well, it got a lot of dislikes on YouTube to the point where it had far more.
They've made it private on YouTube.
Oh wow! So they're not even okay. Paramount, that's not gonna make us forget it. It's never gonna. Far better just to leave it up there so we can look back and say, "Oh, remember that?" At least you get more views that way. I mean, a lot of people saw the trailer, just not for the reasons they wanted. So they changed it, and for a while there, it seemed like quite a good thing. Like, oh, they changed it. Like, yay for the fans. They announced their displeasure, and the filmmakers listened, and they changed that. That is what an optimist would describe it.
Right.
A cynic would describe it as a shallow, maybe even planned marketing ploy to make a mediocre film seem better by comparison to what we might have got. I am neither an optimist nor a cynic. I am a skeptic. So I will say that I am grateful for a better redesign, but I will also say that we should never have had that bad design in the first place.
Exactly.
And I would also say that whilst it is good that we got the redesign, it's not really good because fixing a bad thing shouldn't count as a good thing. Oh no, I burned your house down. Well, it's okay because I'm going to buy you another house. Like, okay, good, you should, but that's not like, I'm not going to be like, oh, thank you. Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so indebted to you for buying me another house. You burned down the house! You did that! That was you bad! Bad! Fixing a mistake is what you should do, but it's not exactly a charitable deed.
Oh, exactly.
I think a lot of people need to remember that, especially when they go see this film, because I did like the new design of Sonic. It doesn't look exactly like he does in the games, but if he did, that would look really out of place. This seems like a happy medium between a creepy, uncanny valley Sonic and a complete and utter, like, Sonic cartoon sort of thing. It's good enough. A phrase that's going to pop up repeatedly in this review, and... God, so
but my problem is that they had anticipated that people would react badly to it, because you think the reaction to the Transformers and the Ninja Turtles would be given enough signs to it that this was going to be a very bad mistake. And another thing, Detective Pikachu came out last year, which is still amazing.
Brilliant.
You think that the success of the film partially lies the fact that they kept the Pokemon looking like Pokemon. They didn't run Sonic over and then try to redesign his face.
True, but I mean, then you have to factor in production schedules. This movie could have been started designing the Sonic the Hedgehog before they released any trailers or art for that Pikachu movie. So, but I mean, you're not wrong though. You're absolutely not wrong. So, what I'm saying is, when we go see this movie, and if we like it, and you are allowed to like it, pinch of salt, little bit of salt with it, just to remember the crazy, windy, gravel-filled road that took us here to this point. With that said, let's actually talk about the fucking movie.
Where to begin?
Well, there's an obvious place where we need to begin. In the fucking middle. Oh my God, they're doing the stupid cliched in medias res opening. Hey, that's me, Sonic. You might be wondering how I got myself into this crazy situation. Well, let me tell you all about it. Fuck off, Sonic. Be original for once in your goddamn life.
I don't recall Sonic sound like Patrick Warburton.
I don't recall being able to do a Patrick Warburton impersonation. Oh my God, can I do that?
I hope so. No, he can do the whole Yzma and Kronk spiel.
Yzma. I don't know any quotes from the
Okay,
movie
never
except
mind.
for pull the lever, wrong lever.
Never
That's all
mind.
I know. Oh, and the waterfall quote, which is fun, but I can't do a John Goodman and or David Spade impression. So
Neither can I.
not that
Although
you'd want to do a David Spade impression.
the waterfall metaphor could count as what Paramount went through when they were realizing they were about to screw up their own film.
Don't tell me we're about to do a horrible redesign of Sonic.
Yep,
Fans really gonna hate it?
absolutely.
Bring it on.
Booyah!
If you messed up the quote. It's most likely, not absolutely.
Well, I had to change. Oh, no mind.
No, I'll forget. Anyway, you're a hard man to improv with, Mark. But anyway, so we start off with Sonic being chased through a city, being chased by like a big robot thing, explosions going on. He does that really stupid, cliched opening, and then we flash back. No, they literally rewinds, and it's at this point we want to point out that Sonic. You see, I thought they were going to do what they did with the Ratchet and Clank movie, which is get a voice actor who's not that well known in the mainstream to voice Sonic, and then barely give him any recognition or, you know, anything like that, like they did with it was what was his not Aaron Taylor Johnson, who voiced Ratchet?
Oh, what's his name? God damn it,
James Arnold Taylor.
That's it.
Yeah, James Arnold Taylor, brilliant voice actor, awesome at Obi-Wan Kenobi. I believe he also played that character, and he had it like, oh my god, Sylvester Stallone in this movie. Oh my god, all these other people are in this movie. No recognition of James Arnold Taylor. Like that's stupid. But they didn't do that here. Instead, they got actually quite a prolific actor that a lot of people will know. Many from things like Parks and Rec, Ben Schwartz.
It's everyone who we do reviews on is involved in Parks and Recs. Everyone we do movies review is involved in Parks and Recs.
Really, I've not noticed that trend.
I think a few familiar faces have popped up when we've done episodes, and you've done other episodes have popped up as well. I think definitely.
Okay, Paul Rudd doesn't count.
Okay.
Paul Rudd's been in everything.
Although Paul Rudd's actually supposed to be in this movie.
He is?
He was supposed to be playing James Marsden's character.
Oh my god!
But
it's like, okay, do I want to do this or do I want to do another Ghostbusters reboot?
Actually, apparently, I've seen concept art of this movie. They wanted to get Chris Evans or Chris Pratt or Paul Rudd, and they settled on Cyclops instead.
Oh my god, we can't get the main Marvel guys, so we'll get the B squad of Marvel.
Let's get the former Cyclops in there.
Actually, not even the B squad of Marvel, like the C squad, because he was only Cyclops.
The X squad.
Yeah, not even that. We're not going to go into a rant about how underutilized Cyclops was in those movies. I'm not going to do it.
Come back.
I'm not. So anyway, we rewind to and Sonic. Okay, this is it. So Ben Schwartz voiced the character, and I want to say Ben Schwartz does a great job. Mm-hmm. He really does. I really liked him. I thought he could have been so annoying, but he wasn't annoying. He was just brought back from annoying into the realms of entertaining. Great, good on Ben Schwartz. He does some narration. And when I say some narration, I literally mean just like a little bit at the beginning and a little bit halfway through, and that's it. There might as well have been no narration. It was really pointless. But he also does the voice of Sonic. And we rewind to Sonic's origin story with him being on what I can only assume is Mobius?
Let's just call it Mobius. We'll call it Mobius in the Green Hill Zone.
Oh, the Green Hill Zone in Mobius. And we all see, oh my god, little baby Sonic!
Gee, I wonder if this was because Yoda got a baby.
Again, production schedules, I really don't... I think it's a coincidence.
No, it has to be because this was... I think this was inserted after the Backlash. And Baby Yoda is a huge thing now, so let's make Baby Sonic.
But again, the Baby Yoda thing happened way after the Backlash.
True, I suppose we know. We'll see. Maybe it's a lot.
It's a coincidence. Those can happen. And let's not forget, original Sonic is supposed to be apparently Baby Sonic, so who knows. Mm-hmm. And we see him zooming around the island, being all zippy and fun and fancy-free, and it's great, and okay, cool, original Sonic. And he's apparently looked after by Longclaw the Owl. Now, okay, here's the thing. I am not a massive Sonic fan. I've played a few things, I've seen a few things, but I'm not massively into the lore. I could name a few characters, but there's a ton more that I couldn't name. So, Mark, I need your help here. Who the fuck is Longclaw?
She's new for this movie.
Fucking hell, I thought so. But do you know why I thought so? Her design looks way too different from other Sonic characters.
Yeah, I mean, because the Sonic characters have had a bit of a mishmash of different character designs, that sort of thing. You should see what they did in the early Archie comics. They look nothing like Sonic characters. They look like Zelda characters. She actually looks like the owl from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I thought, like, who is the fuck is this extra from Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole? Like, who is this person? And don't worry, she's not in the movie for very long, because it turns out, because Sonic has superpowers, a lot of people want to take those superpowers, including a tribe of what I can only assume are echidnas?
They should be dead. There should be no echidnas left apart from Knuckles.
What?
Oh, like game canon. All the echidnas were wiped out 3,000 years ago, and Knuckles is the last of his kind.
So Knuckles is like 3,000 years old?
No. Sorry, most of the echidnas were wiped out in the game continuity about 3,000 years prior to Knuckles being around. So he's like he's the last of the Time Lords.
Okay, but there must have been a direct line of echidnas over those 3,000 years in order to give birth to Knuckles, though.
Yes.
So why aren't there more echidnas?
I don't know. You've got to be echidna me.
I mean, there's 3,000 years. There's a lot of time for... narrow gene pool, maybe, but they're echidnas. They don't give a fuck while they're giving fucks.
I don't know. The game continuity has always been a bit rubbish in its explanations of things. The comics did...
Why are we talking about the generational linear nature of the breeding pool of echidnas in this movie for tiny children?
I don't know.
Moving on.
I don't...
They're attacked by echidnas.
Do you know the way?
What?
Do you know the way?
I don't get that reference.
Okay, never mind. The Ugandan Knuckles meme was a bit of a weird thing.
The Ugandan Knuckles? We don't have time! We do not have time for me to ask questions about that, even though that's all I want to do! They fucking murder this owl person, I guess off screen so we can't upset the kiddies.
Whoops.
Although there's a couple of things about upsetting the kiddies I want to get into later. And she gives him a bag of rings. You know those rings that you collected in the game? Turns out now they're portals to other worlds. Ooh.
Oh, they were always like that.
Were they?
Yeah, in the first game there was a thing called a warp ring. You jump through it and take you to a special level. So it's canon.
Oh, right, fair enough then. And so he gets sent to Earth, leaves Longclaw behind, and basically says, okay, so just, like, don't interact with anyone. Keep your secret. Be as isolated as possible, you small child, because otherwise people will want to harness your powers. And just, like, first of all, I really don't know what those echidnas are really going to do to him. Like, they've got pointed sticks, and he is super fast. I think sending him to another planet might just be a little bit more dangerous. But anyway... So Sonic is now on Earth. He's got a bag of rings, so he could leave, but doesn't want to because he's making a home for himself. And we cut to 10 years later, and Sonic lives secretly, unbeknownst to the townspeople, in the town of Green Hills. I get it.
Reference is obvious.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so it won't be obvious to a lot of the kids who haven't played the games, but I'm fine with this little Easter egg. I guess it's fine. It's fine. And he lives in a cave with a bunch of stuff that I can only assume he stole because he's a hedgehog. Where did he get the money for that sort of thing? And
I do quite like the sequence where he's in this house, where he's in his little hovel. It's quite fun.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the problem. So now he's on Earth. The majority of this movie takes place on Earth. Here's the question. Why are we having another magical creature getting transported to Earth when we know them mainly from the magical world story? Why are we doing that? Fucking Fat Albert, the Smurfs, Masters of the Universe, which apparently is getting remade, and a whole bunch of films where we take the fantastical characters out of the fantastical world that we really, really love and enjoy to know them from and put them in our stupid mundane world, and it's just like, why? Who is the asshole who keeps liking that one specific movie? It's like there's a genre of anime called, I don't know if it's isekai. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's basically like a guy or a girl or whoever from our world gets magically transported by like a book or a blow to the head or dying, I don't know, into a fantastic magical world that more often than not actually has Momopaka elements in it for some reason. And they just like, okay, so that's a bit overdone, a bit cliche, but at least, you know, I can understand the appeal of that because ordinary person transported to fantasy world. That is a fantasy that I think most people have. I've often fantasized what would happen if I got transported to a magical world. I mean, I know deep down I'd be dead within a day, but, you know, I have that dream. I imagine you have that dream too, right?
Yes, occasionally.
Right, so I understand the appeal to that because it's a person from the mundane getting lost in the fantastical. But instead, they're bringing the fantastical into the mundane. Who thinks that? Who wishes just like, oh, I wish that one day Legolas could, you know, be stuck in, I don't know, fucking Brighton? Like, who wants that? Who wants that? Who wants? Oh, I am Legolas, a prince of Mirkwood, and I am on this pier for some reason. There appears to be a man selling some sort of warm canine over there. I don't like what can I do here? How are my skills useful?
I'm sure.
What are your skills? I can shoot things with a bow and arrow and see very far. Well, I mean, here we have like tax auditors, traffic wardens, members of parliament, plumbers, and people who write television magazines that nobody reads.
I'm sure someone would find useful Legolas, especially in Brighton.
Yeah, but nothing that's going to give him gainful employment. Well, if it is gainful employment, it's definitely going to be legal employment. But anyway, so why do we keep doing this story in films? It's so boring. And you know, you're going to say, oh, but the kids will be fine with it. Yeah, because they don't know any better. And I know kids would far rather watch a story about a fantastical magic world with anthropomorphic animals than a boring world with us. At least Zootopia/Zootropolis did it halfway by making the mundane world filled with animals and no people. This, what is even the point of this? It's so overdone. I could tolerate one or two instances, but it's all the fucking time, and I am sick of it. I am so fucking sick of it. I'd say it could be a budget reason, but you know, the budget of this movie is already pretty high. So what would be so much more expensive about doing everything CG or hand-drawn animated or something odd? God.
Although, interestingly, the anime Sonic X did something very similar where Sonic and Co. end up in our world.
Yes, and how many Sonic fans like that show?
I like it.
That's one.
I don't know. I'm probably the only person.
I mean, I watched a few episodes of that. It was fine. But then, again, the same problem happened because, like, even then, that made a bit more sense because we'd had several cartoons before that did take place in a fantastical world. For them to do that, it was something new. Here, not so much.
Nope.
So he lives a secret and he basically spends his entire time in Green Hills spying on people. Oh, Sonic, you little pervy voyeur. And he idolizes, I guess, not main character, but the main human character, Tom Wachowski, played by James Marsden, whatever his name is, who clearly, after this and Hop, is seriously considering firing his agent. Why has he done 2 movies like this, where he partners with a slightly annoying animated animal?
Yeah, he should definitely fire his
Once
agent.
was weird enough.
Well, they dragged him away from X-Men to star in that stupid Superman sequel no one asked for.
Oh, go on, they dragged him and Bryan Singer. Bryan Singer was just like, no, I'm done with X-Men. I'm going to do Superman, and I'm going to make him even more boring. And James Marsden was just like, oh, sign me up for that. Shit. Oh, am I like Jimmy Olsen or something? No, I'm not. Am I Superman? No, I'm not. No, I'm Lois Lane's boy toy. Cool. I was the leader of the X-Men for a movie and a half.
All hail the Donut Lord.
Oh yeah, so Sonic gives him and various other people nicknames in this movie. So he's called Donut Lord, Maddie is called Pretzel Lady.
Yeah, Maddie's his wife, Pretzel Lady.
Yeah,
Who happens to be a vet. How convenient.
No, that's a profession. It's not the weirdest thing in the world. But here's the thing. So he's been spying on all these people. He's been like hanging out with them, but they don't know it. Did he never overhear them just saying each other's names?
I guess not. I guess he has tinnitus or something.
that. I don't know. I don't.
Well,
know.
maybe. I think this kind of ties into one of the overall themes of the story, which is a sense of isolation. So Sonic is kind of away. He's distant from everybody. He's not allowed to go see them. So he kind of comes.
But he's within earshot.
Maybe he has rubbish hearing. All that rolling around at the speed of sound has blown up his eardrums.
Hedgehogs are known for an incredible sense of sound. Anyway, sense of sound, sense of hearing. Anyway.
Ironically, hedgehogs can also swim, but they can't in the games.
I don't know what to make of that. Okay. and so he has to keep secret because if he ever gets discovered, people are going to come after him, he's been told. And he apparently only has one other world to go to, a world that has breathable air and that he can totally live in, but is covered with nothing but mushrooms. And I'm just thinking, oh my god, did they just throw shade at Super Mario?
We can't go there. It's owned by Illumination Pictures.
Yeah, because they're doing a Mario movie, aren't they?
Yeah, so I assume it's supposed to be a reference to a level in Sonic 3, but they might be throwing shade at Mario, as they used to do in the old days.
Yeah, before they went to the Olympics together. Yeah, it's a weird reference that I found amusing, but they keep on referencing this mushroom world as like a really bad place to live.
You know, Owl's an absolute jerk. He says, okay, Sonic, you must tell this 5-year-old to live alone in isolation, or go to this place where there's literally no one at all but these mushrooms that will drive, and you can go insane from isolation. But at least you'll be safe.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. But so he doesn't really want to leave Green Hills because he really likes the place. Meanwhile, Tom, as a police officer, is kind of bored by it. He doesn't feel like he's actually contributing to the neighborhood. He feels like he's a bit of a babysitter, and he wants to move to San Francisco, where he become a street police officer and, you know, be more proactive in enforcing the law. And I'm just sitting and thinking, wow, that's a perfectly reasonable life goal. I see no issues with that. But apparently that's bad.
And his wife has the failure cake on standby.
Oh yeah. So he gets a call from the San Francisco Police Department saying, like, pending a criminal check, background review and stuff, we're happy to accept you. And his wife Maddie, played by Tika Sumpter, is just like, yay, that's great, I'm so happy for you. I made you a cake. It says, you don't need San Francisco, screw those guys. She's like, whoops, sorry, wrong cake. And then it's just like, congratulations, I never had a doubt. And it's cliche, but it's kind of funny. It helps that these are two very charming, good-looking people. The point, I might even say the generic good-looking people, but that's beside the point. And so it's kind of fun, it's kind of sweet, and they have actually a really nice moment where he's a bit reluctant to move to San Francisco as he's worried about her career and her stuff. But she's just like, hey, when I was, training to be a vet, you worked like 3 jobs to support us, and I'm just like, holy shit, America. Holy shit, what is going on with your economy? Like, I realize here in Britain, we're not in the best economic shape right now due to reasons which I can't go into for my own personal sanity.
Very good.
But most people like this, at least like them, don't have to have 3 jobs to support each other. Dear fucking God. 2, yes. 3, fucking hell. But anyway... And so she's like, it's fine, I'm happy to move to San Francisco, I can get a job there, here's an idea, why don't I go and stay with my sister, bring the dog, and we'll scope out some apartments just to look at. And he's like, oh, thanks, I like you. And here's the thing, this movie could have been so cartoony with its interactions between a lot of the people. And it does kind of have that. There's a character played by Adam Pally, who's a very funny actor, I think, and he is way too stupid. He acts so unbelievably incompetent and stupid. And here's the thing, Adam Pally, when he plays that kind of role, he can play slightly dim-witted characters, but it's always with kind of an edge. So when he plays his character, it kind of feels like, oh my god, he is so sarcastic about all of this. He's doing it kind of ironically, and it's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. It makes you wonder, how did his character even become a police officer if he's that dumb?
Indeed, but it is a slow-moving small town, and there's only like 2 of them, I guess.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to make is, I really do like the interactions between Tom and Maddie, because it feels very naturalistic and very, affirming, and it's not silly. They're not overly silly in this movie about a giant blue hedgehog. But anyway.
Oh yeah, Sonic's kind of like the Bigfoot of this town, isn't he?
Oh yeah, because there's a character called Crazy Carl, whom for some reason, I don't know why, I really identify with. I can't think why. And he's the only one in town who thinks Sonic is real, and everyone just dismisses him.
The Blue Devil is out to get us. I caught him last night. No, you didn't.
Oh yeah. So he's just like, I know you're real, Blue Devil, and Sonic calls out, hidden from amongst the forest. No, you won't. it's just so mean-spirited. I kind of love it. It's actually really funny. But Sonic is still very much isolated, as you say, and there's a particularly good scene, actually, one night where during the day, he sees a bunch of, like, little leaguers playing baseball, and this one kid hits a home run, and they spend, like, 5 minutes exalting this kid, like, I don't know, maybe it's different for America, but in Britain, when a kid, like, scores a goal in football, everyone's just like, yay! Okay, moving on. Like, what, do you want a fucking medal? We're still got a game to play. Let's go. Like, it's only the first inning, man. Come on.
It might have been the final inning for the game.
I don't care. Point is, afterwards, Sonic goes back to the baseball pitch thing. I don't know what you call it. And he's so super fast that he plays baseball with himself for about 5 minutes. Too long again. A lot of scenes in the movie just drag on just a little bit too long. Like, we get it, okay? He's playing baseball with himself. Funny. Okay, let's keep going. And he finally hits the ball and stuff, and it's just like, yay! And he goes to high-five himself, but not even he is fast enough to high-five himself. So and he's just kind of like, oh man, I'm all alone. It's actually quite a sweet moment.
What I did like about the movie is that Sonic actually has some flaws to him. He goes through I suppose a character arc in some way. Whilst in the games, he's kind of been stuck in this retro 90s, I'm cool, radical thing for.
Awesome, man, tubular.
Yeah, because Sonic doesn't go for any character development in the games at all, and I think that's kind of been railroaded in the comics as well. So it's nice to
like in the beginning of the game, he's like, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, and at the end of the game, he's like, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, and there's no difference, as you say.
Yeah.
But he does have an actual character in this, and he does go through an arc, and it would have been so easy for them not to do this. Like, I don't want to be that guy who says, oh, because it could have been worse, that makes it good. No, I did a rant on that at the beginning of this episode. But at the same time, there is a character, and it's rather a good one. It's got an arc, and so, points. Well done. But then he does something weird. Then he starts running around in a circle in the baseball thing, and I really don't know why.
I think he's hit a point. He's hit a wall that he's fed up living alone. He wants to go interact with people. But there's still that fear that he's going to be found out and lost his powers. But I suppose emotions outrun logic in a teenager, so to speak. So that explains. So
why doesn't he just do what normal teenagers do, which is go to an empty warehouse and dance angrily?
I don't think
that's what I did when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I don't think Sonic needs to do any more dancing after Sonic Underground. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but he runs around so fast for no reason that he causes a massive explosion of energy and causes an EMP that basically knocks out power across the entire Pacific Northwest. Now, I just want to say something here. This causes the bad guys to want to go after him. And they are definitely the bad guys. But here's the thing. Sonic did knock out power in the entire Pacific Northwest, like a fucking quarter of the coastline of America, and he knocked out power. How many hospitals do you think lost patients on life support because of him?
I think I looked up on TV Trope, someone actually asked that question. I was like, oh god, Sonic just murdered people.
Yeah, but there's going to be and he knocks out satellites in space, which means there's going to be planes flying overhead that lose all power.
Oops.
Communications complete and utter blackout due to the satellite. Cars that crash into each other at traffic lights because there are no lights. People getting into household accidents. Like, I know he didn't mean for that to happen, and he didn't know the EMP was going to happen, but he very much did that. So Sonic kind of has a body count in this movie, we just don't see it.
His thirst for blood will not be quenched.
Yeah, but so this gets the attention of the government, specifically the Department of Defense, featuring random Michael Hogan cameo.
Oh, which one's Michael Hogan?
The bald guy.
Oh my god! Oh, wow.
Well, it's a room full of old.
It's the room of cameos.
Well, I didn't recognize most of the cameos.
Gary
Michael
Chalk
Hogan
is also in the scene.
Oh, Gary Chalk. Oh, who's that?
He was a voice actor in 2 of the Sonic cartoons, and he was also a voice of Robotnik.
Cool.
So and also in Optimus Primal and Beast Wars.
I could not care less.
Okay.
But anyway. And so they're like, okay, so there's been a massive EMP. Do we think it's terrorism? Oh, no, I don't know. So who are we going to get to solve this? Well, we could send in SEAL Team 6. We could put the CIA on it. We could,
Call G.I. Joe.
Call G.I. Joe. Maybe get a van of mystery-solving teenagers on it. No. We're going to get Ivo Robotnik on it. Ooh, okay, but here's the thing they say, but Robotnik's crazy. Yeah, but he's effective. And so here's the question. Is Robotnik in this movie an operative for the Department of Defense or the government or the army or whoever? Or is he a private citizen that they're subcontracting?
Don't know.
I don't know either, and the movie doesn't bother to tell us. They just say, oh my god, he's a maverick and he's weird and we don't like him, but he's the best we've got. And over the course of the movie, it keeps on flopping between them saying, oh wow, he actually is very good, and oh wait, no, he's the best you've got. But anyway, that's when we're introduced to Ivo Robotnik, played by the lovable goofball himself, Jim Carrey.
Yay!
Now, reaction to Jim Carrey's performance in this movie has been somewhat mixed. Some people say that they really like his manic energy that is very reminiscent of some of his earlier films. Other people felt like that there was too much of a throwback for the actor, and that he was just relying on tired old tropes from his career that don't really matter anymore. I don't know. All I know is Jim Carrey looks like he's having fun in this movie, and if anyone deserves to have fun, it's Jim Carrey.
Absolutely. I thought he was the best part of the film.
A lot of people have said that, and I won't go that far, but you know what? He was fun. He was a lot of fun in this movie. I have some questions about his character, starting with, I don't know, why didn't you have the classic Robotnik design for him throughout the fucking movie? Like, we all know you're gonna have it right at the very end of the movie because we saw that in the trailer. Good job, guys. But, so, we know he's gonna end up with a bald head and a big mustache, so why are you giving him the not bald head and the not big mustache right now? Why?
Because it's an origin story, and not all the pieces in the place can go in until the last 2 seconds of the movie.
That's stupid! And so we introduced him, and it's basically that whole sketch from the movie we get. Oh, by the way, hi, random Neil McDonough cameo.
Hi.
Okay, so Michael Hogan is one thing. Neil McDonough, he's not the biggest actor in the world, but he's a pretty big actor. He's a very good actor, been in lots of stuff. You could only get him for one scene in which he barely does anything but just sort of be the straight man to Jim Carrey's antics. That must have been the easiest day of filming for him.
Probably. And another Marvel person.
Sorry?
And another Marvel actor.
Oh, yeah, because he was the Hulk. Well, it's Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he was also Dum Dum Dugan.
Yeah, where was he Hulk?
In the cartoon series.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. Lou Ferrigno was the Hulk, and he was Bruce Banner.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He reprised that role in the PS2 video game, Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which is one of my favorite Hulk games of all time, because it's awesome because you can pick up a taxi cab and rip it in two and mold it around the Hulk's hands to make two big boxing gloves made out of car.
So you mean to tell me I just saw the Hulk and the Mask meet in the same place?
Oh my god, you did. That's so weird. Almost as weird as the fact that there are seagulls in your room.
They're outside. I can't shut the seagulls off, unfortunately.
Mark, the entire UK has been battered by 2 storms in recent days. Perhaps close your fucking window?
The window is closed. It's very loud seagulls. I do live near the coast.
Fair enough. Yeah, so we get that scene, and it turns out that Robotnik's whole thing is that he prefers machines to people, because machines do what they tell you to do. And, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of code programmers watching this movie who are going to like, no, they fucking don't.
And he does that weird Charlotte's Web analogy.
Oh yeah, he spoiled the ending of Charlotte's
He
Web.
goes, "Ugh."
Thanks.
Made the entire audience go, "Oh."
Oh yeah, he talks about Charlotte's egg sack. And it's like, look what came out of my egg sack, and shows off his drones. It's like, please, Jim Carrey, could you not talk about your egg sack?
It's like the weirdest way to try to get Eggman shoved into the film.
Well, they actually shove in Eggman later on, and it makes far more sense when they do, but anyway.
Yeah.
And so, Robotnik starts tracking down Sonic, and who realizes, oh shit, they're onto me, I need to get the fuck out of here. And so he goes to his lair, grabs his stuff, grabs the rings, is about to leave, but oh no, it appears they're too close to him, so he's got to go somewhere else to teleport. I don't know why he couldn't just teleport in his cave. I think he'd be pretty much out of there before they got to him. I know the ring's supposed to stay open for a little time, but it's only like a couple of seconds. I'm pretty sure he'd be okay. But so he decides to go and teleport to the mushroom world in Tom's shed. He, however, hears him rattling around in there, thinks he's a raccoon, busts in with a tranquilizer gun, and sees Sonic. Meow? Put-you-on, tranquilizer.
Dead.
No, yeah, it's made for bears, and he's a tiny little hedgehog. That would kill a grown man, I'm just saying. But here's where things get kind of interesting. In his drugged up state, Sonic sees the shirt that Tom is wearing that says San Francisco on it, and he accidentally, using one of the rings, opens up a portal to what is it?
Trans-America Pyramid.
Trans-America Pyramid building, which I knew nothing about, but who cares, in San Francisco, and accidentally drops the bag of rings onto the roof of that building, and then the portal closes so he can't get to it. Okay, so he needs to go to the mushroom world, and the only way to do that is with the rings, and they're stuck in San Francisco, so he's got to go to San Francisco. Okay, that is absolutely fine as a plot point, but I wanted to say there's a glaring flaw that's going to come up later, which I'm not going to mention now. Just bear with me, okay? So Tom locks him, well, it doesn't really lock him, he places him inside a cage, like a dog cage, which he easily gets out of. Has a bit of a conversation with him. He's just like, oh my god, you can talk, blah, 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 blah. And I want to say, hats off to James Marsden for playing this movie. Again, it's kind of naturalistic the way he talks. There's not a lot of jokes or not a lot of... not a lot of goofball moments. He talks to Sonic like he's an actual character, which is both incredibly off-putting and incredibly good. I really don't know how to feel about it, to be perfectly honest.
I think that he always the eye line works quite well. I think when you're talking to a CGI character, if the actor is keeping eye contact, he's not just staring off into space 3 miles above the guy's head. If they do that, I think it works quite well.
And considering Sonic's new, slightly more cartoony design, how well do you think Sonic integrates into the live-action world? Do you believe he's actually there?
Yeah, I do believe he's actually there. The problem is that he's walking around in broad daylight and no one freaks out about it.
Well, I think it's that you believe he's actually there in the same way you believe the Looney Tunes were actually there in Space Jam, like when they went to the real world. Okay, we know they're not.
Well, they're aware that the cartoon characters. I think it's a little bit more complex with them.
Yeah, but I think it's a similar sort of thing. I don't know. But anyway, Sonic basically explains the situation to Tom. Tom is sympathetic. But then Dr. Robotnik shows up. And he and Tom have a bit of a conversation. And it's nice to see these two play off each other because Robotnik is really intense, but Tom is kind of laid back, but also very kind of smart. And Robotnik clearly has a huge superiority complex with regards to his intelligence. I kind of wonder what other character he could have possibly applied that to in recent years that, was kind of funny and cartoony and was, something from comics. Riddler.
And also Mad Scientist as well.
Oh, God, the comparisons are too many.
Well, at least he's not wearing a green one-piece suit this time.
now he's wearing like a cool trench coat and these nifty little glasses.
I like the glasses; they were quite funny.
Yeah, and he managed to grab hold of a quill of Sonic's that got left behind that Tom managed to pick up early in the movie, and then he sees Sonic, and Tom takes advantage of the distraction to punch him right the fuck out. And Robotnik does not like that later on.
I've never seen Robotnik get punched before. That's quite a surprise.
Yeah, no, he just sort of like gets his machines blown up around him and then gives up.
I hate that hedgehog.
But anyway, Tom cheeses it with Sonic going.
What?
Going,
Cheeses it?
Yeah, as in to run away.
I've never heard that term before.
Well, then you've learned something today. The more you know.
G.I. Joe!
Okay, we're mixing references here. And Robotnik is just like, okay, well, I know what I do. I'm going to have Tom declared a domestic terrorist. Can I say two things? First of all, the word terrorist gets mentioned way too much in this kids movie. I just want to make that clear. Second of all, does Robotnik have the power to do that?
I don't know.
It's like if
he is allowed to take over the Hulk's army.
but then he never uses them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He never uses them. He's like, your men work for me now. Okay, what you want them to do? Nothing.
Go stand over there.
Yeah. But so, I can only assume this is some sort of Patriot Act bullshit.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, Tom and Sonic are going all the way, but Tom's just like, look, dude, I'm really sorry about everything that happened, but I can't help you because, I don't want to get in trouble. I've got a job, I've got a wife, I've got a future, so just, like, leave me out of it. And Sonic's like, fine, okay. What do I do now? And Tom's like, just go to San Francisco. Okay, fine. I don't know where San Francisco is, moron. Tom's just like, well, it's just west. And Sonic's like, okay, zooms off, comes back, and it's like, yeah, I hit the ocean. I still don't know where it is. And, I mean, okay, fine, fair enough. This is the point that I wanted to bring up.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
So, the ring's been stuck in San Francisco. Good idea. Sonic not knowing exactly where San Francisco is a good idea. Him needing Tom to show him the way is not a good idea. Why? Because Sonic could just figure it out, surely? Like, are you telling me he can't read maps or even just road signs? We know he can speak English because he reads the Flash comics. Like, he couldn't just like, this way to San Francisco. Okay, this is where I need to go. I'm so fast people can't really see me on the road. So, zoom. And I'm leaving this planet anyway, so who cares if they do see me? Zoom! And then he's there! And then it shouldn't be that more difficult to search the entire city, considering he can move so fast that people, like, seem to be standing still from his perspective. It really, really shouldn't be that difficult for him to find that building and find the rings. Honestly, and for that matter, this is another problem. Okay, so he needs the rings to go to the Mushroom Land, but does he really have to leave the planet Earth? Like, can't he just go to another country? Like, they're not looking for him in Canada or Mexico or Russia or anywhere. Like, okay, let's say he can't use the rings to transport to the same planet just on another continent. Okay, so he's got the entirety of North America plus
South America.
Central America plus South America.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure he could hide on a boat in one of those places and go to another continent. Like, he is not without options here. He has to have some cultural information that he knows the Earth is divided into nations, because again, Flash comics. So, why? Why?
Because then it wouldn't be a road trip movie.
Did you just make a Rocky and Bullwinkle reference?
Yes, I did.
I respect you a bit more for that, actually. Yeah, well done.
Is this the film I could compare it to when I came out was this is like watching the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie.
Yes, except
it's
fun of itself less.
A very beloved and a very popular, respected actor is playing the role of the bad guy.
Oh yeah. So we got Jim Carrey in this movie. In Rocky and Bullwinkle, they got fucking Robert De Niro.
As fearless leader.
which I didn't notice when I was a kid, but when I grew up, I just think that's weird. He does a silly accent the whole way through.
And then they do a Taxi Driver reference, and Jason Alexander and what's in it, Rene Russo, like, what the hell's going on?
I was like, what the hell was going on when I was a kid? Because I hadn't seen Taxi Driver when I was a kid. No kid has seen Taxi Driver. Why are they making reference to Taxi Driver? One weird kid's movie at a time. So Sonic and Tom go on the road to go to San Francisco. We're off on the road to Francisco. I don't know. And they stop off at a rest stop or whatever. Tom telephones back to the police department to say, "Hey, so Adam Pally character, how's things going?" Adam Pally is surrounded by Robotnik and all of his goons. It's just like, not good. You're a terrorist. Oh dear. And oh yeah, before that, Tom makes a reference to phone booths in regards to, like, drug dealers. And I was just sitting there like, holy crap, they just referenced drug dealers in a kid's movie.
We need a Sonic Says moment.
This is so... Who is this movie for? Like, but then... And so he tells Sonic, okay, Sonic, wait in the car. And Sonic's like, okay, I will. And then he turns around, and literally right next to this rest stop is a bar with bikers outside doing, like, tricks with their bicycles and everyone yelling and having a good time. And so it's like, oh my god, it's the coolest place ever. No, be strong. And he tries to resist the urge to go in for a little while. And here's the thing. It's genuinely funny the way he reacts to it. It's just like, oh, I know I'm not supposed to go, but I want it because it's so cool. And it's very funny, but here's my thinking, did Tom not notice that place? He parked right next to it. They're making a lot of noise. Did he really not think, ooh, maybe we shouldn't park right next to A, all those witnesses so they don't see the blue hedgehog in my car, and B, I should park around the corner so Sonic isn't tempted to leave, because having spent this much time with him, I know that he's a little bit, not great at impulse control.
And I gotta stand with my back to him and make sure he doesn't run off.
Yeah, it's... There's a lot of stupidity going here, despite the fact that it's a funny scene. But Sonic does eventually go in, Tom goes in to try and find him, and he gets away with the fact that he's a hedgehog really too easily.
Wearing the hat and the what's the term?
Glasses.
The glasses. And it's like, oh hey, this is my 45-year-old uncle or something. He suffers from some sort of weird disease. Like, and the lady's like, oh well, sure, fine.
America's full of weirdos, man. I don't know. Anyway, and so they spend some time in the bar. They talk about a bucket list for some reason. But actually, that develops into a pretty cool plot point. Sonic wanting to do all the things he wants to do on Earth, before he has to leave it. It's a pretty cool bonding moment for the two of them until a bar fight starts and Sonic zooms around really, really fast to beat everyone up, I guess. And it's absolutely fine, this scene, but, we're 2 Quicksilver scenes later in the world, and it's just nothing special at this point.
We were denied the Quicksilver scene in Apocalypse, so I think this counts as its replacement.
Yeah, but it's only okay. Like, if this was the first time I saw a scene like that, no Quicksilver scenes, then I think, oh, that was pretty cool, that was pretty inventive and creative. But now we're 2 movies later, and it's just fine. Quicksilver ruined super speeding in movies, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, I thought the Flash did that in Justice League, because they always made him go super slow. Like, I want to see the Flash go fast. Stop slowing everything down.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so if the Flash ruined things in a bad way, Quicksilver ruined things in a good way. So if anyone does a scene like that again, we're just going to think, oh, Quicksilver. Because there's nothing wrong with doing that sort of thing. It makes sense for Sonic to do that. It's something we've seen before. So it's not the movie's fault, but it's ours. It's ours. We're to blame, really, people. Come on. And so they leave the bar, they go to a hotel room, they pass out, it's just like, aw, they're bonding. Nice. And meanwhile, Robotnik is chasing after them. And they're on the road the next day, and Tom lets slip that he's moving to San Francisco and leaving Green Hills. And Sonic has a bit of a bad reaction to it because he likes Green Hills so much. And okay, so I get it. Sonic does not want to leave Green Hills because he likes the place so much, but Tom does. Here's the thing, though. his reaction to it is way over the top. Like, I can understand him being upset, but he takes it really fucking personally. And it's just like, it was just a bit much for me. Oh, okay, so here's the thing. I can emphasize with Sonic's position, because I've talked about this on the show before. When I was a kid, I had to move around a lot. It was not my choice, and I had no say in the matter, and it was really, damaging for me, socially and psychologically. So I can really emphasize with a character that has been forced to move away from a place he loves, and seemingly has no choice to it. But here's the thing, when I was a kid and as an adult, I've never gotten mad at a person for leaving a place I happen to like just because I had to be forced to leave it. Like, that's just a dick move. And I can understand Sonic being upset. Like, he's like, oh, you're leaving? Oh, man. Or just like, maybe he gets a bit more moody or withdrawn, but he doesn't want to talk about it. Like, I can understand him having a negative reaction. But the negative reaction he has, like, he yells at Tom, like, why would you do this? And he's like, you're a jerk. And it's like, well, why do you just want a new job? What's wrong with you? And he goes...
I think the way you can look at it is that Sonic has kind of imprinted himself upon Tom and Maddie as kind of a family in a way, and the fact that he's kind of Tom's leaving kind of shatters this illusion that Sonic has created for himself to avoid facing the fact that he's isolated, which ties back into his meltdown at the baseball field.
Possibly, but this brings up an important point I want to mention. Is Sonic in this movie a child? A kid? A young adult? A teenager? Like, we do have no real like, he was a kind of like a baby, but not really a baby, because he could speak whole sentences in the beginning of the movie, and then it was 10 years later. So I don't know how to gauge how appropriate this reaction is in terms of how juvenile it is.
I'd say Sonic is maybe early teens, perhaps, in this.
Possibly. But even then, yeah, that's his chronology. But in terms of, like, I'm pretty sure Hedgehog years aren't the same as human years.
Probably. But I doubt he's going to drop dead at the age of 18.
Well, I know that, but then you know what I mean. So I just don't know.
It's very windy here.
Yeah, I know. I just don't know how to gauge it. But as this is happening, Robotnik catches up to them and sends a big robot after them. And they have to fight it, and they blow it up. Awesome, cool. But then a slightly smaller robot pops out of it and chases after them again. And this leads to possibly one of the most entertaining scenes in the movie. Them having this big car chase with progressively smaller and smaller robots. It's actually really entertaining and a great action scene.
And they have Sonic drive the car with James Marsden hanging out the back door.
With, like, oh yeah, that was the stupid part. That was the one stupid part. Like, Sonic drives the car and James Marsden just like flails at the robot angrily with like a pipe or something.
Well,
just like, I'm helping!
Well, I suppose this ties into his character of wanting to be impulsive and help others in a more larger capacity than just being their babysitter.
Okay, I think you might be reading too much into this. Sometimes a bad moment in a scene is just a bad moment in a scene.
You should always read.
Not everything ties into each other, Mark.
It's a thematic.
It's weird. But anyway, so they manage to get away from the robots, although one of them does kind of blow Sonic up.
Whoops.
And so Tom quickly takes him to Maddie's sister's house.
Ugh.
And can I just say, yeah, I really did not like Maddie's sister in that, because she's, okay, so Maddie's sister in this, her thing is that she really hates Tom, and she doesn't think he's good enough for Maddie. Okay, why? No reason given. She's just like, every single line of dialogue out of her mouth is about how much she hates Tom. And it's so stereotypical. It's so weirdly stereotypical. It reminded me kind of that character from that new television show, Mixed-ish.
I don't watch that.
I've watched a few episodes. It's okay. But here's the thing, that show devoted enough time to that side character to explain her reasoning, why she disliked the husband of her sister. and, you know, explored her motivations and her perspective on that. Here, we don't get that perspective or the explanation of those motivations. It just seems like this random woman hates this random guy for no fucking reason, which kind of makes us hate her, and it sucks all the joy out of it. She's just so fucking annoying.
Look at they duct taped her mouth shut when they tied her to that chair.
Oh yeah, they have. Yeah, so when Sonic is revealed, they have to
tie her to a
they
chair.
have to tie her to a chair in her own house.
It's my house!
Oh yeah. There are no repercussions for this, I want to point out. They tie her to a chair in her own house. Her own sister does this, / her brother-in-law.
And her daughter.
As well as her daughter, who then runs around the house free, and there are no legal or ethical repercussions for this. I'm pretty sure that now Maddie is no longer going to be able to see her niece ever again in her adult life.
Maddie does say that they can't go back to her sister's house ever again.
Yeah, you'd think she'd be more upset about that she's now been forced to cut out two family members, not forgetting, forever. And I'm pretty sure the police are going to get involved. So good luck staying in the police department, Tom, because, you know, holding someone against their will is very much a crime. I don't care what your reasoning for it. Like, oh yeah, and it'd be fine if she was just like cartoony, comically, like the odd snide comment. But no, she's more than happy to sell out her brother-in-law to the government because he's wanted as a terrorist. But even then, you think like, oh, she's a really hateable character. But let's not forget, also, at the same time, she has a young child. And she's worried that her child and herself are going to be held for aiding and abetting a terrorist, which is a legitimate fear. So it's gotten to the point where I can't like any of these people.
And technically, Tom is running around with an illegal alien.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. And we're all going to move on with our lives. Anyway.
Well, he's an alien.
I know, we're moving on with our lives. So, Maddie treats Sonic as best as she can, considering the fact that he technically has alien physiology, because, you know, and Sonic managed to wake up saying, "Gotta go fast!" And, okay, great. And they spend a little bit of time at the house, and Maddie / Tom's niece gives Sonic, actually, his classic red and white shoes that are actually her shoes, and it's actually quite a sweet moment.
Because I like the extra touch that Sonic burns his shoes out.
Yeah, and
that was a nice, despite how absolute garbage the first trailer was. I liked the fact that there was like a scene shot where there was like a pile of burnt out shoes with holes in them. I thought that was a nice feature. Sonic's never explained that before.
Yeah, that was pretty good, and it's a sweet moment between him and the kid. And it's great. Tom explains the whole thing to Maddie, who they joke about in the movie, but is like super cool about it all. Like she says at some point in the movie, like, I just wanted to be noted that I have been incredibly cool about all of this throughout, and just like bear that in mind, because aliens, terrorism, it's amazing I'm this collected. And Tom's like, yeah, no, fair enough, yeah. But they all agree. Okay, so we're gonna go to the Trans-America Pyramid Building to get the rings back. And they let Sonic drive on the way there.
Why?
This car is like completely wrecked. And bear in mind, it's not their car, because the other car has been completely out-totaled. It's the sister's car. So they've tied her up. They've introduced their kid to get essentially a terrorist, put them on the government's radar, and stole her car. Dear God, it's a miracle if they ever managed to get out of jail in this movie. But then the car is also wrecked and almost total because they let Sonic drive. And Maddie's just like, why did we let him drive? And I'm sitting there thinking like, yeah, why did you let him drive? What was so wrong with your driving skills that you had to let the small, technically child's Hedgehog who'd never driven before drive?
How do you reach the pedals? He's not that tall.
Oh God, before they had to put on cruise control, it's stupid. But anyway, they get to the top of the building.
There's that bit where Sonic's in the bag.
Yeah, we saw that in the trailer. It's kind of stupid then. It's kind of stupid now. Why wasn't he just quiet? And they go back to the top of the building. They get the rings back, and then there's a big goodbye scene. It's like, well, goodbye, guys. It's been fun. I'm really going to miss you. I'm glad we got that bucket list. Oh, you two are so cute together. And it goes on for about 10 fucking hours. It's way... Like, okay, so yeah, you go for the goodbye scene, and it starts off being cute. Like, oh, it's nice way to nice goodbye. It's very real and heartwarming and stuff. And then it just keeps going and going and going. And, like, even if they were playing it up for a joke, like, saying all these things and to make the audience laugh. It's still too long even for a joke. I'm not laughing by the end of it. I'm annoyed. I'm bored. But then Dr. Robotnik and his robots show up, and there's like, "Ha, what are you wearing?" And he's like, "It's a flight suit." And I'm just like, his clothes aren't weird enough to comment on. Yes, it's a flight suit. It's a red flight suit. It's not weird. It's really not that weird. He's in a flying drone. You don't mention that, but you want to point out his clothes? What are you, the fashion police? God! And so they're surrounded by drones, and Sonic then kicks Tom and Maddie off the building. Slow motion starts blowing up the drones, but Robotnik uses his stolen Quilla Sonic's energy to speed up the machine, which somehow speeds him up as well. I don't know how that works. Like, I understand it speeding up the machine, but how does it speed up him? I don't know. I don't care. You know, this was all explained in a scene with Robotnik, like, dancing to music and flipping a fuse box in his thing and then accepting a tea latte thing from his assistant, and it's just like, so the end of the movie's in sight. I just want to get to that. And so they speed up, which means Tom and Maddie are now in actual quite a bit of danger. Sonic throws a ring to them, teleporting them to Green Hills, and he doesn't, so he gets stuck in San Francisco, zooms away, throws a ring, which teleports him to the Great Wall of China. Robotnik follows, and I'm just like, oh, so you can use the rings to go to different countries.
Why didn't you do that in the first place?
Why didn't you do that in the first place? It's Earth. It's a big fucking place. Quite easy to hide. But I also want to point out, early in the movie, on the bucket list, it had him, like, say, run the Great Wall of China.
Oh, there you go then.
So, yeah, there's another thing on the bucket list and never gets mentioned. And so they teleport all over the place, but Robotnik following him every single time.
Yeah, then they go to Egypt, and Robotnik's like, "You can't go up the pyramids, it's one of the certain wonders of the world," as he blows up the Sphinx.
Yeah, also want to point out, kind of weird that they're happy to blow up an ancient Egyptian monument, but they do absolutely zero damage to the Chinese monument.
Exactly.
Yeah, just, there's some stuff we could say about that in regards to Hollywood's
love affair with the Chinese.
Moving on. And they end up then something weird happens. They teleport back to Green Hill, but it's night.
Yeah.
Except when they teleport Tom and Maddie earlier, like a few minutes earlier, it was during the middle of the day, and now it's night. Like,
has it gone that long?
How? Yeah. You're supposed to be just a couple of minutes at most.
Because you're both assuming that Sonic and Robotnik are going at like 600 miles per hour. Does time work differently for them?
Yeah, I don't know. And the Robotnik threatens Sonic, so Tom jumps onto him and is fighting them, and is just like, "I got you now, you son of a..." And Robotnik punches him off. I'm just like, okay. So there's a couple of scenes in this movie that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I definitely remember watching the movie, where they kind of swear. There's way too much swearing in this kids movie.
Well, they tried doing that in Shadow the Hedgehog's game. That backfired on them spectacularly.
Just so you think they learned, but even then, that kind of makes sense for Shadow the Hedgehog. This isn't Shadow the Hedgehog, this is Sonic the Hedgehog. Why is it so much as close to swearing as we can get away with in this movie for children?
Actually, there's a joke in Shadow's game where Shadow says a very minor cuss word, and Sonic says, "I don't say language like that." It's like, well, what are you doing in this movie then?
God, and you know why they do it. I know exactly why they're doing it. They're doing it because they know,
Be edgy.
because it's a kids movie, that they're going to bring adults with them. And they think the only way to keep the adults interested is if they put in swear words. And as a legal adult, maybe not an adult in other ways, but definitely in the legal sense, I object to that. I find that offensive. I mean, I like swearing. I can swear right now. Fuck. See, I swore. I'm fine with that. But I don't need it. I don't need that in every piece of media I consume. I watch the occasional cartoon intended for children, but, you know, there are sophisticated ones that can appeal to children and adults. And those shows don't need to swear. Imagine if they swore in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I wouldn't put it past them when they do this new TV show.
I'm sorry, they're doing a new TV show.
I thought they were doing a live-action TV show. Yeah, that's what I heard. And the show creators are producers.
Mark, I demand that we stop what we're doing and Google that shit.
Very well. Just a second.
Google for me, Mark. Google your
Luke,
little heart
I'm
out.
going to Wikipedia, damn it. We shall send an apology to our beloved editor. Here we are, live action remake. Netflix announced in September 2018 that they're doing a reimagined live action remake of Avatar, which was put into production last year. The creators are producers, and showrunners. They're showrunning it. They tended to make it culture appropriate with non-whitewashed actors, and the Jerry Zuckerman, who did the show's music, is coming back to do the live action one.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Well, they're doing it correctly, I suppose. They're having a non-white cast. I
still don't know how to feel about this. Okay, so the fact that it's a TV show, I mean, okay, I get it because there's so much in the original show that we need to put in, but then it's a case of why? Then you're just repeating the TV show, but in live action with maybe a slightly higher budget or slightly lower budget. At least with the movie, it made sense because it was a different kind of art form, but the problem is there was no way you could condense an entire season of show and plot into an hour and a half or even 2 hours. So what's one kids franchise media at a time? I can't deal with this right now. So
back to Sonic.
So Robotnik threatens them, which leads to Adam Pally's character and the rest of the townspeople that we know nothing about except for Crazy Carl.
He's got a chainsaw.
Standing up to him, and at which point I want someone to point out, like, hey, you are threatening a government operative. Like, I know you're in the right, but this is not going to end well for you. Oh, and by the way, Crazy Carl just like, see, I was right. There's Sonic, the Blue Devil, or whatever it is. Yeah. And I just want to point out that he's holding a chainsaw at this point, and I just love Crazy Carl. Crazy Carl is my spirit animal.
Yeah, he reminds me of the character from Gravity Falls.
Like McGuckins,
yeah,
whatever it is. Yeah, I like that character too. And so the whole town stands up to Robotnik, even though he's in a fucking drone. Like, I would run. I would run. But Sonic summons that big energy power that he's had throughout the movie, and Matt is able to harness it, like what took Thor 3 movies, he manages in one, and uses the power against Robotnik's drone thing, blasting it,
bouncing off
it, taking back the energy from the quill that he's got stored in the drone, and sends him to the Mushroom Land. Okay, wow, so he's gonna die because human beings cannot subsist entirely on a diet of mushrooms. Like, he's gonna get scurvy within the month. And the border vanishes, he's stuck there, and the townspeople are like, yay, Sonic! And Tom's like, you know what, I've decided to stay here. Why? Because we need to wrap up the movie. Like, my character's not gonna... in fairness, I'm pretty sure, like, he's not welcome in San Francisco with his, sister-in-law. But even so, like, what big dangers? Like, Sonic convinces him to stay in Green Hill because that's where his true friends are. But he doesn't have any true friends. He showed open contempt for his co-worker. The only people he likes there are Sonic, his dog, and his wife. That's not... And they can move. They could go anywhere. But so they stay there, and it's fine. And Sonic is like, okay, so I'm going to go back to my cave. And Tom's like, yeah, you can go back to your cave in our attic, because we want you to stay with us. And I gotta be honest, it's a little schmaltzy, but it's kind of sweet too. Like, they play it just right in terms of tone. It's actually really heartwarming.
Oh, and the government pay them a visit.
Oh yes, the government comes back and says, okay, so we want to thank you for essentially banishing our government-sanctioned operative to another dimension, not to mention destroying millions upon billions of dollars worth of our technology. You did us a favor. Really? Really? It seems like from your perspective, the government's perspective, they did everything wrong. Like, the EMP, the thing that caused the EMP, is still running around. Are you saying they don't want that anymore? They don't care about it? Because Robotnik was doing what they wanted. They wanted to neutralize the threat and harness it if necessary, which is what Robotnik's motivations were the whole time. It's just, it's like, oh my god, we've discovered this small terrorist cell is using plutonium. Hey, evil government operative, go and get the plutonium. Okay, I will. We've decided to use this plutonium for good. Oh, well, we don't care about it then. No, that's not how it works. This is not, God, this is so stupid. Then so apparently, they erase all knowledge of Robotnik's existence. First of all, I know you're the US government, but how can you do that? He's like a multi-billionaire, like huge big tech guy. People are gonna notice his absence. You can't pretend he never exists. And also, side note, the government making it seem like someone never exists, that's what they did in fucking Soviet Russia. Like, that's scary. The government is scary in this movie, and they act like they're not, but they are. And then, to thank them for doing exactly what they didn't want them to do, I assume what they were going to do was offer Tom a pardon. Just like, okay, so if you promise never to mention this mess to anyone, we're going to drop all the charges, pretend like it never happened. Instead, they offer them a gift certificate to Olive Garden. And I'm just like, oh, so instead of like a appropriate thing for the scene, you decided to do some product placement. Well, that's just great. That's just great.
Well, I assume they did give him a pardon off screen. It would have been better if they gave him it on screen instead of the stupid product placement.
Yeah, and they don't ask any follow-up questions like, okay, so do you know where this Sonic creature is? No. I'm going to take you at your word then. I'm just going to peer around the door slightly, despite the fact that I'm like a 5-star general and really should be. But all of these people should be in Guantanamo Bay right now. I'm not saying they should be. I'm not saying they should be in Guantanamo Bay, but they would be. They would be.
Just raid the Brick House already and get the Hedgehog.
Yeah, and okay, so we end with Sonic staying with Tom and Maddie, and it's really sweet. We get a bit of a credit stinger with Dr. Robotnik looking actually like Dr. Robotnik now. Yay. In the Mushroom Land, plotting his revenge and promising to find a way back. And honestly, if anyone could find a way, it's Robotnik. Okay, so Robotnik, objectively bad guy in this movie, but he was just doing his job. Literally just doing his job. Like, he wanted to dissect Sonic. And that's bad, and he shouldn't be allowed to do that. But his punishment for doing what the government asked him to do is banishment to another realm where he's probably going to die in forced. So, I don't know. I feel like they should have even made him more evil and more of a rogue element. Like, what if the government said, okay, we want to find out what is causing this thing, but then you've got to, like, stop what you're doing, just reel it back and not go after anything without our say-so. And Robotnik's like, sure, and then he doesn't do that. And the government's like, okay, but just like, don't get innocent civilians caught up in this, okay? And then he declares Tom a terrorist, and then he goes rogue, and then he goes outside the bounds of what's expected. But no, he did everything he was told to do, and I'm not saying he's a victim in this, I'm just saying, if we're gonna make this character reprehensible and deserving of a punishment, let's make the character reprehensible and deserving of a punishment. They go close to it, but not enough.
Yeah.
Not nearly enough.
Yeah, they make them an unperson because they find them vaguely annoying.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. And then, so we get that, and then we go for the credits, and then later on, we get another credit stinger. Thankfully not right at the very end. Thank fuck. OMG, it's Tails!
Yay!
Miles Prower himself, who's on the search for Sonic.
And he's voiced by his video game voice actress Colleen Villard, and I love it.
And am I the only one that think this is going to be end up with a revelation that in fact Longclaw the Owl was the bad person the whole time?
Oh, I'm going for the fact that Robotnik got out of the Mushroom Land and ended up in Sonic's world.
I don't know, and I don't care. I don't know whether this movie is going to get a sequel or not.
I say it very well.
I don't. Well, I mean, so it did pretty well at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that the budget had to be inflated slightly to do the redesign. And in terms of reception, it got a pretty good reception. It got 64%, which isn't the worst thing you could ever... And this is why I say this movie is just okay, that it's passable. 64%. That's like, okay, you made a movie. Great. It was pleasantly diverting for an hour and a half for my 10-year-old. Awesome. Can we move on now? And... I don't know. I keep getting this nagging feeling that we didn't get everything we should have in this movie.
What do you mean?
I feel like this just could have been better. I mean, you could say that for a lot of bad... You could say that for every bad movie. It could have been better. But... Okay, so how would you do this movie, Mark? I can't honestly say how I would do this movie because I'm a Sonic fan. So how would you do a big budget... America-made, live-action, or indeed CGI Sonic movie?
Oh boy. Well, I could go get a cup of coffee. I could probably be here for like 2 hours explaining how I would do a Sonic movie.
Do you think you could do a better one than this?
Yes.
Right, and
In short, I would do an animated Sonic movie, and I would base it on SatAM.
where the one where Dr. Robotnik has in fact taken over the world, and Sonic is the leader of an underground resistance movement trying to stop him from turning the entire forest into Big Robot City?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd watch that movie. That sounds fun.
Plus, Jello Wyatt and Jim Cummings.
Ooh, that's very good.
They're orgasming,
yes.
orgasming over everything he says.
Ooh, that warms the cockles of my heart.
Yes.
Yeah, make that noise again.
I like Podcapers a lot.
Oh god, stop it.
It chills my metallic heart. Excuse me.
Yeah. And so that's what we're left with. After all that controversy, after all that backlash, we're left with a movie that's just fine. It's fine. It didn't end with a bang, either a good bang or a bad bang. It just ended with a whimper, just like, here's your movie. It spurted out of the box office like someone squeezing some ketchup too quickly. That's what it is. And that's fine. Not every movie has to be a masterpiece. Not every movie has to break records. Not every movie, even for children, has to be of the highest fucking quality. And I can honestly say there's a lot of movies that seem much worse for children than this movie. Swearing and, violence and weird messages aside, it really is worse. In fact, one of the trailers I saw accompanying this movie was the trailer for fucking Peter Rabbit 2. I want to find the person who thought these movies were a good idea, and I want to throttle them. I want to strangle them. Just like, no, you absolute cretinous bastard, no.
Is it just me, or please correct me if I'm wrong? Was Sony responsible for both Peter Rabbit and Hop, or was it Universal?
Universal was responsible for Hop.
Okay, well they're both rubbish rabbit films anyway.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Peter Rabbit, and every time I say it, I want to explode, and because I like James Corden, I want to murder him.
I like James Corden too.
Don't take a colossal. You go first, and I'll go.
James Corden, good actor, good talk show host, picks some rubbish films. Dear God, too rubbish, honestly.
Okay.
Oh, I couldn't even see that movie. Jesus.
Neither could I. No.
And we can't get distracted by fucking Peter Rabbit. And that's the thing. See, I want to keep talking about this movie. I want to talk about the ups and the downs, but we've pretty much gone over anything. That's the thing. This movie is one of those movies that you watch, maybe you might enjoy. I chuckled every once in a while. I went, every once in a while. And then I left the theatre, and if I hadn't been preparing for this episode, I would have forgotten all about it, because it leaves you with no impact. I'm not going to pretend like Sonic as a franchise is the deepest in terms of lore or emotion or theme or pathos.
Not anymore, anyway.
But there have been moments in the franchise where they have done something with it. There were moments in Sonic X that were pretty good, I remember.
Yeah.
Sonic SatAM, as you rightly pointed out, was a very good show.
Yeah, I mean, Archie Comics did as well. They gave Sonic, all the cast, deep personalities and hurts and feelings. There's a fantastic scene in, if you'll bear with me, there's a fantastic scene in the comics where Sonic defeats Robotnik, and the poor villain literally has a mental breakdown. He just goes completely nutty mad. As Sonic is looking there, he doesn't do a funny quip or look victorious. He just looks broken. The fact that he has literally just mentally destroyed his arch enemy.
Yeah,
and right there is fantastic writing on whoever wrote the thing for both Sonic and Eggman, who are both stuck in this abyss of non-personality in the games.
Yeah, but even in some of the games, they try. Like, remember the abysmal Sonic 06?
God.
At least that game was fucking atrocious, but they at least tried to inject some emotion into it by having Sonic make out with this weird anime lady voiced by Lacey Chabert.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I don't really need to see your fan art of Sonic and Eliza Thornberry, thank you very much.
I don't know what's creepy, the fact that she made up an animal or a corpse. But bring up what you said, Sonic Adventure 2 did it quite well, where they explored Robotnik's ancestry and stuff, and we learned that his grandfather was a very renowned scientist. He was like the Einstein of his age, and due to personal tragedy, he went completely nuts and built a weapon which could essentially blow up the world, and Robotnik was hit with this kind of like I don't know how to describe, like a wall in a way, of saying, my grandfather wanted to destroy the world, I want to conquer it. How far should I go before I stop being a bad guy?
Just because it's a silly kid's story featuring talking hedgehogs, foxes, echidnas, and whatever other furry animal they came up with, doesn't mean you can't go occasionally a bit deep. Like, okay, so a lot with kids shows and kids media, it's tempting to go like, oh, I want this to be really deep and serious, but then it becomes inaccessible to children. But there is some of the best stuff for children have been stories featuring cute, crazy cartoon characters that do tackle deep subjects, that do, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. How many times is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a show about fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, done actually kind of epic storylines featuring, you know, families and talking about the theme of family and what it means to be a leader and how far should you go and facing up against your fears and stuff, and even journalistic integrity on the part of April O'Neil. Like, even the fucking live action movies attempted to discuss that. They did an awful job, but they tried it. So with that sort of things, you can do it, and they sort of touch on some emotional beats in this movie, the nature of family stuff. I'm not saying that's not, because again, this isn't a bad movie, but there's so many more ground that you could, so much more ground that you could go that is far more emotional, far more impactful, and also is much more accessible because it takes place in, again, a fantasy world. I mean, Mobius is varied in terms of the level of its fantasy, but fucking hell, it's more interesting than our world. Why could you not do that? Or here's an idea. What if this took place in the fantasy world, but Robotnik came from our world and tried to impose his values on that place? And I don't know, there's something there. And this, I could put this, out of all the good ideas they could have had for a Sonic movie, this is the worst good idea they had. It's just good enough, but it's so far down the list. Maybe we'll get more of these movies that will introduce more elements that are more in keeping with the better parts of the lore of Sonic. Maybe we won't. I don't care. All I know is I really hope the Mario movie is better. But it's made by Illumination, so it's probably not gonna be.
Yeah, turn the Shy Guys into the goddamn Minions 2.0. I swear to God, if they replace Charles Martinet as Mario, I'm gonna boycott the movie. I swear to God, if they do, because he's been doing it for 20 years now. If they swap him out for some random Italian fella, then I'm out. I'm out.
You know they're gonna try and get Joe Pesci.
Have they got John Leguizamo? That'd be quite funny as Luigi again.
I think he's staying far away from that.
They
blame him.
resurrect Bob Hoskins to be Mario.
Is there, I don't know, is there anything else we could talk about? We could talk about the cast, but honestly, there's not much to talk about. We've already talked about Ben Schwartz and how he does a good job. Jim Carrey's funny. James Marsden and Tika Sumpter are there.
Well, I did wonder about, not the casting, about another topic because there's a specific scene where Sonic is looking at a map saying, oh, which world can I go to? And he also explains to James Marsden that the rings are used by all higher civilizations to get around the place. What if that very subtly, or rather unsubtly, Paramount are trying to set up a Sega cinematic universe?
Oh, wow. So they could have Sonic crossover with those other beloved Sega characters like...
No one remembers.
Fucking no one! Because it's
repeat
fucking
that. No one.
Yeah, what other massive Sega... Like, okay, because at the beginning of the movie, they start with a Sega logo that shows, like, they're trying to, like, recreate the Marvel logo or something with all the characters. And it's just, like, front and center is Sonic, and then there's a bunch of other characters, some of whom I kind of recognize, most of which I don't, because it's fucking Sega.
Yeah, I mean... okay, I have a Mega Drive, but I was like 6 when I got it, so I don't really play all the major games. I don't really play video games much anymore, but apart from maybe, do they do Persona? I think Sega do Persona. They do Persona. Persona could get a movie. Yakuza could be a good movie. They did that live action.
Yeah, they do Yakuza. Oh, I would love to see Sonic crossover with Yakuza.
I mean, if you go into more like semi-school ones, Golden Axe, Altered Beast, Echo the Dolphin, which is terrifying. Nights into Dreams, which was kind of like considered to be Sonic's sister counterpart, which didn't really go anywhere because they made 2 games. I don't know. It's not. If they do try to do this, I don't think it could really get off the ground. Then again, Marvel, a lot of characters from Marvel were considered obscure, and now they're household names. So who knows? If Paramount took their heads out their asses, it could work if they do it.
Oh, here's an idea. Sonic could cross over with Bayonetta.
Oh, yeah, okay. That could work.
Or Crazy Taxi.
I'd be up for that.
Doki Doki Penguin Land.
I don't know that one.
Echo the Dolphin, as you said.
I did once try to write an outline for an Echo film. It didn't go quite well because I couldn't wrap my head around the time travel and psychic magic flying dolphins.
Golden Axe.
Maybe.
House of the Dead.
They already did that with Uwe Boll. I don't think they need to do that again.
Sakura Wars?
That's quite popular in Japan.
Oh, here's an idea. Shenmue.
Well, a friend of mine is playing the 3rd game, and he's spent hours upon hours running around, as he describes it, doing nothing. Because apparently it's a rubbish game.
I recently got a couple of months ago, I got Shenmue 1 and 2 on like a sale on the PSN.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, it's cool. It's done it. So it's like a classic Hong Kong sort of revenge film. Ooh, I like this. It starts off really strong, and then you just spend like the next couple of hours wandering around this small town, talking to people, desperately hoping to talk to the one person that's going to unlock progress. And then I just thought, oh, I don't care anymore.
Well, I suppose I could do the...
Hey, have you seen the guy who murdered my father? No, dearie. Sorry. Hey, have you seen the guy who murdered my father? No, sorry, man. I haven't seen him. Hey, have you seen the guy who murdered my father? You already asked me that. It's so stupid. So, yeah, Sega. I mean, they've acquired a bunch of stuff. I mean, let's be honest. I think we'd all love to see a Total War game featuring Sonic.
Oh, yeah, but Robotnik driving a tank. Running him over.
Well, no, Total War, that's the historical
thing.
Okay. So
it won't work anyway.
So it'll be Robotnik driving a trebuchet.
Flying around in a biplane. Tails will probably do that in the sequel, to do a Sonic sequel.
I don't know. The point is, if anyone is least deserving of a multimedia franchise shared universe, it's Sega.
I guess. We do what Nintendo don't.
Again, I'm going to pretend like you didn't say that for the sake of our sanity.
You cannot erase what has already been said, unless you work for the American government and erase me from existence.
This movie covers up problems. And on that bombshell, I think we're going to end the show. Thank you very much, Mark, for joining me today.
Gotta kill fast!
And if you enjoy the show, Capers, please tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops! And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes. Like, what's a show that we've done that's vaguely similar to Sonic the Hedgehog?
We reviewed all the Sonic cartoons last year.
Yeah, go back and listen to that. And you can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, or at podcapers.com. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HYC, or email us at podcapers@ap2hyc.com. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the model of a microphone, the red and blue 3D glasses, those are mine. And thank you for listening. This has been Podcapers, the official podcast for a place to hang your cape. Cue the music!